lot of success with this, even if it takes a little bit of time. If you invest, I guarantee you're going to see a good return. All right, guys, we just covered the katagatame, or the side choke arm triangle, and I want to move on to our next variation of the arm triangle, which is going to be the bravo, without the gi. When I say without the gi, I don't mean that we have to do it without the gi. I just mean it doesn't involve wrapping an opponent's lapel around or anything like that, which, although it's an important learning and teaching tool, I think, the no-gi variants are a little bit more dear to my heart, to be honest, because I can use them specifically no matter what the situation. Now, remember, the ideas that we're working with here, guys, are that it's a dominant position doesn't mean that I win immediately. It just means that I win. As long as you stay mounted on me, you could be a white belt. As long as I can't get you out of the mount, you will eventually beat me, period. Because that's the better position. So let's say I've been doing this for almost a decade, and it's all that I do, and you've been at it for 6 months, and there's something you're doing that makes your position better than mine. Well, anything that's face-to-face, I would absolutely murder you, because I've been at this for a long time and you haven't. But something about the position is still superior in spite of the colossal edge and experience. It's like, is there a single move in basketball where I'm in a better position than LeBron James? Not really. Not that I'm like LeBron James by any stretch. But if he would have to literally be on the other side of the court. So if we're face to face and you still have a dominant position on me, that means you still have an advantage over me. That means that there's something about these things that are very, very, very important, and the details cannot be overlooked. So you might notice that Steph's not tapping super quickly. That's because I'm not putting a ton of pressure on his neck. One, because I want to be nice, and two, because it's not necessary. That flies in the face of efficiency of what we're doing here. I'm relying on the position to win, not some positioning plus squeezing my ass off, which is generally speaking what's taught, and I believe that very much to be, a negative way of going about things. So let's go on. So Steph's here on the bottom, and we're using the bravo choke. This is a very, very common situation, often arises out of knee on stomach, half guard, side control. I mean, we're going to get into all sorts of different little things. The bravo is one of my favorite attacks, and it's very, very versatile, particularly for people of my build. It doesn't mean that if you have short and stocky arms that you can't do the bravo, but I'll be honest, it's always going to be a little bit tougher. But if you have a lankier build, it gives you more options. And just like anything else, guys, when you have a lanky build and you can lock things up easily, but there's almost always a little more room to squirm around in there, which is, kind of a blessing and a curse. Easy for you to lock, tougher to finish. Guys with shorter arms, you're going to have a harder time locking the choke. But again, once you get it, once you actually connect your hands, the other person's going to feel like their head's going to pop off. So take that as you will. Now, moving forward, the key here with the bravo, guys, is to relax and get used to putting your opponent's shoulder in the proper position, because there are a few chokes. I don't know if I've ever come across another choke, with the exception of like the on the trachea guillotine, that hurts like hell more than when people do it. And most people do this wrong, and I did it wrong for the longest time. So you have to understand that in the learning phase, you're always going to want to take it a little bit easy, because you're not going to be putting anybody to sleep anyway in the beginning with this one, because it takes a little bit of finesse. And on top of that, I don't need to just unnecessarily hurt my teammates' necks. So let's say Seth tries to underhook me. If we rotate here, all I'm doing is I'm wrapping my arm around his, above the elbow, and I'm taking my hand to the back of his neck. Now, it's most important just to secure the position initially. Once I lock you into a dominant position where I'm in control, I'll clean it up later. I don't need to try to do everything perfectly right from the word go. It's not realistic. So all I'm thinking of here is using my chest to keep Seth onto his back, or onto his side rather. The bravo choke is, generally speaking, best executed when his chest is up and is flat on his facing its side, mine is facing the floor. So we're at a perpendicular angle to one another. I reach through, I lock my hand behind Seth's head. If I have long enough arms to do this, that's fantastic. If there's a little bit extra space because my fingers can't quite make it, all I'm going to do is I'm going to lock. Take my thumb on my outside hand, the one that's not going around his arm, and I'm going to put it 3 fingers right here in between my index and middle fingers. So thumb comes here and I lock. Alternatively, I mean, you could do anything short of this. I wouldn't lock like this just simply because you're going to have a harder time getting your hands out of there, and sometimes they get stuck. So now all I'm looking to do is I'm going to extract my leg and bring it around Seth's arm. The reason that I want to do this, guys, the reason that this is desirable is because it allows me to put his arm in proper position. I've got the limb length to be able to lock this choke, and you'll finish a lot of people, from a submission perspective, because they'll tap to pain. But assuming that we're in a fight, where there's a lot of money on the line or a lot of pride on the line or both, or, you know, worse yet, obviously a fight in real life where there's no such thing as tapping, I need to be able to put you to sleep. I can't rely on you giving up because it hurts. That means that I need your arm in proper position so that I can roll it into the side of your neck. If my pressure is downward here, it's not going to get the job done. The Bravo works like this. Backstop on the bottom, pressure behind the shoulder, drop Seth's shoulder into the top, and it goes like a trash compactor. A trash compactor does not work like this. The pressures miss one another. So if I'm going down here and up here, it's going to hurt like hell, but you're not going to get the finish that you want. So here we are. I shoot my hand through. If we rotate a little bit, I'm going to go 5 fingers. Not here, because this is a defensive grip that pushes my own arm away from itself. I want to embrace my arm with 5 fingers. If I have the limb length, I'm going to bend my wrist 90 degrees once it comes over. And I'll lock. If you'll notice again, see how I'm all the way behind Seth's arm? What I want to do is I'm going to bring my shoulder on top of his. My shoulder drives behind Seth's armpit, rolling his arm over. 1, 2. Now all I'm going to do is relax my weight and squeeze gently for the finish. I could squeeze really, really hard, and believe me, in a tournament I would try to break his neck until he taps. But what we're looking for here is simply the ability to get the finish when I need it. Get the choke to put him to sleep when I need it. If Seth is not fighting me back, like right now, if Seth is being very accommodating because he doesn't want to embarrass me in front of the camera, which I appreciate. If I have to squeeze really hard to tap him, I'm fucking up. I'm just relaxing my weight for the finish. So, here we are again. Seth starts out on this side. Notice I'm checking his bicep. We're going to get into the specifics of the setups later on. They're honestly, some of them are very nuanced, some of them are not. What's most important, guys, is once you get into the position, you know you can finish it, because there's no point in showing setups, in my opinion, without understanding exactly how to go once we get to where we want to be. So Seth goes for his underhook, because that's in his interest. Go for your underhook, please. There we go. I wrap my arm around. Overhook. Now, I can try to finish, but what you're going to notice is when his arm is behind me, it's always going to be a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to step out and around his arm. So if we rotate again, that's going to give my arm a little bit more length, a little bit easier to get in there because I don't have a check against my back now. The sharp of my wrist is against the side of his neck. Rule of thumb, my thumb is on the back, the base of his skull. I lock, my second hand is going to come up high. No reason to put it down low, it just might slip out. And now, nice and easy, all I'm going to do is I put my shoulder, this is the key motion, guys. Don't stay here and squeeze. It hurts like hell, but the loop is too big. 1, right here. I don't even need my second hand. Obviously, in a tournament, if he's thrashing around, I'm going to need my second hand. But the idea is I need to be able to understand exactly how this choke works so that when I do attempt to use it with the pressure on, I'm not going to be wondering if it's going to work for me.